welcome to this episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the lands and airwaves where this conversation took place. Land which was never ceded. Land where communities came together to eat seasonally, locally and without exhausting resources. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and to any First Nations people listening today. Today I'm talking to Spencer Patrick in Far North Queensland. Some of Australia's best chefs, and quite a few friends of the podcast, are heading north for a feast in the tropics, and it's all thanks to Chef Spencer Patrick and his taste of Port Douglas. Founder and culinary director of chef-hatted Harrison's in the Sheraton Grand Mirage in Port Douglas, Spencer started his career in the UK, where he was head chef at 3 of Marco Pierre White's restaurants in London, before coming across to Australia in the early 2000s. At Marco Pierre White's The Café Royale, Spencer garnered national acclaim by being awarded a Michelin Star at 26 years old, making him the youngest chef in the country to have done this. The Good Food Guide also awarded Spencer with 8 out of 10, making him joint third in London alongside Gordon Ramsey. Spencer arrived in Melbourne and worked with Raymond Capaldi and Gary Mehigan at Fenix before heading off around Australia with his wife Reina and settling in Far North Queensland. Spencer and Reina started Taste of Port Douglas in 2013 with the idea of promoting all the glorious produce they were enjoying in their new home. The festival has gone from strength to strength, welcoming 10,000 visitors last year. This year, the stellar lineup includes Michael Wilson from Marguerite in Singapore, the first time the festival's welcomed an international chef, Ben Williamson from Brisbane's Agnes, Aaron Ward from Bathers Pavilion in Sydney, Colin Fassnidge, and names familiar to Victorians, Julian Hills from Navi, Ian Curley, Telina Menzies, as well as Raymond Capaldi, Mark Best and Michael Lambie, to name but a few. There are long lunches, a main stage, masterclasses and restaurant takeovers, and I would love to be there. Next year, I'll see you there for sure.
Hello, Spencer speaking.
Hi, it's Jo Ritty here. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat today.
That's okay. Thanks for wanting to chat.
Of course, I love to chat to chefs. And you're up in a place I've never been to, so Port Douglas, and I imagine it's really beautiful up there and an ideal spot to bring all these culinary geniuses together. But can you just maybe describe what you're looking at right now?
Looking at right now, I'm in a car park.
Oh,
but normally I'd be looking out of my restaurant into lagoon pools around the Sheraton Grand Mirage and palm trees in the background with a sea breeze keeping me cool.
Amazing. I looked at some photos of the restaurant online. It really does look so glorious. Just the inside dining room with the chandeliers, but so much greenery. That's so beautiful. And then the outside, as you say, looking out onto the lagoon is just how nice to work there.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful place, you know. I mean, we've been we've been at the resort for 6 years, but we've been in Port Douglas the same age as the restaurant and the same age as our firstborn son, so that's 16 years. I know.
Now, I was reading that you came out from the UK and you really only spent a short time in Melbourne before you went to Port Douglas. Actually, where you worked in Melbourne at Fenix with Raymond Capaldi, we used to live across the road. I just up until last year, so I'm well aware of that building, Fenix, although it seems to be in disuse at the moment. But
yeah, right. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Yes.
Yeah, a long time ago, and so you came here from England and then pretty much went straight up to Port Douglas, and it must be pretty great up there because you've been there ever since.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I'll tell you a story. I came over from London about 17 years ago, and then, as you know, went to go and work as Raymond Capaldi's head chef there, and then after that, I went to go and work in Lupe, and that's where I met Reina. And it's actually quite funny though, because we were. Where I used to work, my last head chef job in London was at a place called Quevadis on Dean Street in Soho, and she used to work on I think it was Brewer Street or something. So it's only 200 meters away around the corner, And so, you know, she was there at the same time I was, so we would have walked past each other.
Wow.
I know we used to go to the same cafe every now and again, but we never bumped into each other, never met each other, and then we met each other in the other side of the world in Melbourne.
That's so crazy.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So and then we decided to travel around Australia. So we bought a 4x4 and pretty much a camping shop, and we the idea was to go all the way around Australia, then get back to Melbourne, and then decide where we wanted to set up shop, and then, you know, then move there properly. But we had such a nice time following the sun clockwise, and went to Margaret River, which is absolutely amazing. Great, lovely beaches and all the wineries, and all the way up to Broome, stayed there for quite a while, and then up over to Port Douglas, and then we found ourselves pregnant there, and we were going for a walk in the park, and I said, "Oh, do you want to live here?" She goes, "Yeah." It's okay then, let's do it. And so we decided stupidly to open up a restaurant while Reina was pregnant. So she was running the front, I was running the back, and that's it. The rest is kind of history, really.
It's actually interesting how many chefs I speak to who do open restaurants at the same time as their partner being about to have a baby. It's like it's the birth of the restaurant and the birth of the child. And I think...
I know, but, you know, Reina's going because you know, in our businesses, she does what I can't do, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so, you know, got to a stage where she was heavily pregnant, waddling around the restaurant. I was searing my foie gras, ringing the bell for service, and all that kind of stuff. But you know, we've got 3 children now. We've made a lifestyle for ourselves up there. And yeah, it's a nice part of the world.
Beautiful. And so, you know, obviously I can see you've got lots of accolades, and Harrison's just does so well, and you know, chef's hats and all those kinds of things. At what point did you think, I'm just going to give myself a really big challenge and start this huge event of Taste Port Douglas? So was it 10 years ago, the first one?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was about 9 years ago, I think. Well, before that, I was always invited to do festivals around, you know, be part of Noosa Food and Wine, Gourmet Escape, and all things like that. And Reina's always been fantastic at running events anyway. And she says, "Oh, why don't we start something a bit like that? You know, you've got a couple of friends in the business, and when you give them a shout, get them to come up, and we'll have a mini festival." And so we did that. I mean, the first people that came up were Ian Curley, Massimo Melli, and Colin Fassnidge.
Yeah.
This is before Colin was on any kind of TV.
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, so we did that, and yeah, we put them on the main stage, and we put them around restaurants doing takeovers and at Harrison's, and it just went really well. We kind of winged it.
Yeah.
And then the second year we just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now we're really getting quite big now. You know, we've got 22 great chefs and friends coming up, and they're all people I know as well, which makes it nice. It's nice and tight, you know. So
I looked at the list, and I know quite a few of them as well. So I've met Colin kind of briefly when he was at Murat's restaurant in Elwood. I went to a collaboration they did of Irish pizza kind of situation. And I've met Ian Curley and Jerry and Julian from Navi, and then who I spoke to Michael Wilson from Singapore on the phone, or as a video thing, and Telina Menzies as well. I was like, oh, it's all the favourites, so great.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I was trying and make the kind of lineup bigger each year, and I kind of make kind of new friends through friends, and then, you know, connect to them and have a chat on the phone, and if they're a real nice person and we get on, then they kind of get an invite. We just like to have a nice, happy family. No arrogant chefs.
Yeah.
Everyone gets involved. Everyone supports, and it just makes it really, really nice.
And so, is it still that same format where you have them on the stage, but they might also do some takeovers of restaurants?
Yes, yeah, for sure. So we've got masterclasses as well. So we've got the main stage on the Sunday in the Festival Village. So we have demos going all day back to back, and then we have a good 8 masterclasses, which is real close up and personal. Like Ben Williamson is doing the story of Agnes, over how bad she, and just telling your stories and all that kind of stuff. And then what else we got? We've got Mark Best doing a masterclass as well. So he's doing his grilled seafoam oyster. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's like an iconic dish of his. Okay. And so if the chefs, some of the chefs double up doing masterclasses and demos, because the masterclasses go from Thursday all the way through to the Sunday. And then all the takeover dinners as well. So there's a good 10 takeover dinners too. Quite often we pair chefs together for those. I think the only one there's only 2 we haven't paired up with chefs, and that's Ian Curley, who's doing a French saloon takeover at Zinc, and also Jerry Mai, who's doing a takeover at Paper Crane in Cairns.
Amazing. And I see that there were over 10,000 visitors last year, and some of those came from overseas. Obviously they're all foodies. Do you have an idea of the proportion of chefs that get involved, that want to come and see other chefs at work, or is it mainly the public kind of foodie person that would come to this?
It's mainly the public, but I do know some of our major sponsors, like Estrella Beer. They get a lot of chefs who want to come over, and they all hang out in the VIP, and have become a bit of a chef party.
Yeah.
So it's mainly public and foodies. Yeah.
Yeah. So nice. I just love the idea of it. It's incredible, and that's in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, so it's the 8th to 11th. So this is we call it the storm before the calm. Getting it all organised. But we kind of, we've got systems in place, so we kind of a bit more control as years go by. But, we keep on adding stuff to it as well. So there's always new stuff to take on. Because we're actually going to Cairns as well this time. So we've got 3 events in Cairns, one event in Palm Cove, which is a good 40 minutes and an hour away from Port Douglas. So we're kind of spreading, and we originally started in being a Port Douglas festival, but now we want to make it about the region, because the region's amazing. Port Douglas is a part of that, so that's really important to us, to showcase the best of what we have around here, and to keep we've got all these amazing people coming. It's not just about the chefs; it's about the fantastic producers, and what we do really pride ourselves on is using the best produce we can in Australia, local where we can. But the best award-winning producers. So we invite them up as well, so they can showcase their product, everything with a story. And so we, put them on that pedestal and give them a round of applause for all their passion and hard work they've put into it. And then the chefs showcase those products on the menus, and it all works.
Yeah, perfect. Just what I often ask the chefs that I talk to, just to switch to you now, is where did it all start for you? Did you always know that you wanted to be a chef?
No. I was one of those. My parents sent me to a very expensive school in the UK, and I didn't do very well. In the end, I got expelled, and then I had to. They said, got to go and get a job. So I ended up being a waiter in this restaurant, and I wasn't very good at all. In fact, I got sacked from there being a waiter, but I used to get on with the guys in the kitchen. So instead of me going home saying, I can't even be a waiter to my parents, they employed the kitchen staff, employed me as a dishwasher, a kitchen hand. And so I used to get changed at home into my waiter's outfit, go to work and then get changed in the car into my T-shirt and jeans and wash dishes.
Right.
So, but when I was washing dishes, I could see down the line at these chefs just, I could see their adrenaline pumping, especially on a Friday and Saturday night, and I could see just feel that energy. And after work, they'd be sitting around the bar. It's like a bunch of pirates, high-five each other, getting drunk, and like, this looks really cool.
Yeah.
So I used to wash dishes as fast as I could, so then I could go and give them a hand in the kitchen. And I used to do it more and more and more. And then one time, one of the chefs didn't turn up, and the head chef gave me a chef jacket to put on. And I looked at myself in the mirror and was like, this fits just right. So that's where it all started, really. And I think it's the only thing I've ever been patted on the back for. So I ran with it, and here I am now.
And I guess
36 years later.
Amazing. And it feels like it was what a time to be alive in the 90s in London. I had a friend who I worked as a waitress when I was at uni, and I met this couple that had worked in London, and Nicola had been a chef at Pearl in London, so under June and Marco.
June, yeah, I worked with June.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so I spent a very short time at Nico's. Because when I first started as working in the relish chateaus, Michelin Stars, in the English countryside, and then I would, on my days off, because when you're young, you just worked, didn't you? You didn't care about money, you just worked.
Yeah.
And so on my days off, I used to go on stages. So I used to go down to Nico's, used to go to Manoir Quatre Saisons and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's Nico where June was.
Yeah.
And then when I went to go and work for Marco, he came and worked for Marco for a bit, but Marco didn't like him too much.
No. Well, I do remember, Nicola saying something about Marco coming into the restaurant, and it was all a bit. Everyone had to be on their best behaviour or whatever. But I loved it, and that was actually why I started this podcast. Was talking to Nikki about just all the stories, the industry stories, and the reasons why you do certain things and so on. And and I guess, and once you get past that, the coolness of the chefs and the pirate kind of attitude, I guess you get hooked by, what would that be? The adrenaline of service, pleasing people, the creativity aspect. What's kept you in it for 36 years?
I think maybe because it's not a job,
Yeah.
And it's something that you become good at, and you're proud to do it. And especially if you've, I think if you've worked in some great places and you've earned your stripes, and you're part of that kind of stable, I think it's pretty cool because, when you do spend those times in those places and all that hardship, even the young kids today know about that. And so it's a kind of a club. It's not the old hardcore club,
Yeah.
And it's really something to be proud of. And then you see the young chefs who you train, who come through your kitchens and stuff. They all want a piece of that, and it's really great to kind of nurture these chefs and show them the old ways of cooking, and the nose and tail, all that sort of stuff, and show them how to do really tasty food consistently, and but not through as much high pressure, as it were. But does that kind of make sense?
Absolutely, and I see that is. I mean, that's part of what you're doing now with the SNR Food Solutions, where you're advising restaurants, but also mentoring young talent. And I often ask the question, what would your advice be to a young person who's starting out as a chef? And then a couple of times lately, people have said to me, but where are those young people? It's quite hard to attract people into the industry. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, advice, firstly, is to work for the best and work as hard as you can, and absorb as much as you can. Don't worry about how much you're getting paid, all that stuff. Travel to work as well in those best places, and so you see the world, you see cultures, and just think about yourself moving forward. Have a game plan, you know, rather than just chasing the money and going from job to job. I think it's very, very important, which you don't see these days, that chefs working 6 months here, 6 months there, maximum a year. But, you know, if you go and work in a great place, you need to spend at least 2 years there. The first year is getting your pair of balls and getting used to the actual environment of that kitchen. And the second year is being that full sponge and absorbing all that knowledge. And that's when you properly learn and take it all in, because you've got it in your stride, you've got your self-confidence, and you're ready to learn then. And so you do 2 years, and then you leave with respect to the head chef, respect to that kitchen, and your resume is great, and then on you go to the next.
Yeah. And do you think there are still young people wanting to come in to the industry?
I think so. I think it's changed because they're looking at the money side, and you know, people these days are really into buying the cool stuff and chasing the things they can't afford. They buy things they can't afford. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it shouldn't be about that, you know. The kids are still out there. It's a different type of kid these days. The ones who are coming into the industry, they're all quite nice and clean cut, and there's less of that rock and roll going on.
That's right.
I mean, you see amazing chefs like Aaron Ward, and you know, that kind of circle of chefs who have got so much fantastic technique, and they've all worked in these great three-hatted restaurants. They're all amazing, beautiful people, but there's no rock and roll there. You know, they're all nice and fit and gleaming and clean. So it's a time change, but that is the new era. You know, I'm not saying rock and roll is a great thing. Times have changed, and I love the way the industry is going in that way. Yeah. You know, it's all about the correct work environment. Because you know, when you're working, years ago, when you're doing all those long hours and struggle conditions 6 days a week and God knows how many hours a day, you know, that kind of sticks with you. I call it a bit of scar tissue, you know, and it does affect people later on, as we all know.
That's right. Yeah. So you've obviously eaten at some incredible places around the world, and you have access to all that great produce and supplies and so on up the top part of Australia. Can you still be surprised by food and flavours?
Can I be surprised? Yeah, I can. I can be surprised about simplicity, you know. For instance, getting an amazing octopus and then finding a different where it comes from, what it eats. Then you cook it a different way. You need to, you know, once you've steamed it, then you need to hang it for a couple of days and get that moisture out, so then it hits that grill. And you know, I don't get, nothing amazes me, but it makes me feel great. Do you know what I mean? Nothing's like wow, you know, but it makes me happy. You know, if I eat something that's really delicious and has been thought about the way it's cooked with integrity and great technique, I just like that. It makes me feel good rather than excited and surprised, you know.
Well, I think it would be lovely to eat food that makes us feel good all the time. So that's great.
Well, you know,
I think that's what we're after.
Yeah. It's a feel-good thing, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get 3 amazing things on a plate and they all are cooked perfectly, they're all in season, they're amazing 3 ingredients, all perfectly seasoned, perfectly cooked, and the ingredients which go well together, you can't beat that, you know. And you eat that with, you know, some people you love. Beautiful. Yeah,
that's it, isn't it? That's the ideal. Well, Spencer, thank you so much for your time, and all the best for the event in a couple of weeks. I'd love to be going, and maybe I can put that on my radar for years to come.
Yeah, come next year.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much.
All right, lovely. Thank you for your time.
Bye.
See you, bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Spencer Patrick, founder of Taste Port Douglas and Harrison's Restaurant in Port Douglas. You can check out all the fun on Instagram at Taste Port Douglas, that's all one word. It's a great lineup and all the info's there. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. You can read the chat and become a subscriber at www.conversationwithachef.com. And of course, you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I would love it if you told a friend about my chats because that's still the best way to get the stories out there. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit.